Welcome in, everyone. We are live. We've got a big matchup tonight here in Seattle. Seattle debuting their rivalries uniform. I couldn't quite tell from the initial pictures, but I thought there was like an emerald green shade to the helmet when light hit it a certain way. And from photos that I've been seeing this week coming out about it, it looks like that is the case. And so that's really cool. I think that that's a pretty neat feature. Just posting in the chat over here. I've got the Rams winning tonight. The last game, Darnold cracked under the pressure. He seems to have a big problem with the Rams and Lions as of late. But yeah, I feel like the Seahawks have been struggling a little bit lately. They just barely edged out the Phillip Rivers-led Colts last week, so I really do think that the Rams have the advantage in this one. However, Seattle does have the home field advantage, and that's huge at Lumen Field. But okay, so it looks like green numbers and green flecks on the jerseys. I think I like these. I was gonna say I think I'd prefer if the green was the primary color, but then I thought of those neon green ones, and I'm not so sure about that. This is the Dusty Tron channel. You're listening to my live reactions tonight for Thursday Night Football. Just about ready to get started here. Looks like it's mildly raining. We've got Myers ready to kick off. Jason Myers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And here's the kick. And it goes back to the Rams wearing their blue uniforms, their blue jerseys with yellow pants, and those awesome blue chrome helmets. And the returner gets it to about the 30-yard line. So the Rams will start with the ball first. Both of these teams, 11-3, it's really making it's ironic because it's Sam Darnold involved in this, but it's really making me think of the Lions and Vikings last year, and the Vikings could not pull it out against the Lions and ended up being the number 5 the top wild card. And I just really feel like the same thing's going to happen here tonight. But we've got Matthew Stafford getting things ready in the huddle. They break the huddle. Davante Adams, he is out today. He's been a great target, a great additional target for Matt Stafford. He's been having great chemistry with him this year, but it looks like it's going to be mostly Puka Nacua today. We've got Kyren Williams on the run for about 7. So it was a good run on first down. Sounds like my internet quality is a little suspect tonight. Hopefully it's not going to create too many problems. We've got Stafford under center. He hands it off to Williams again on a 2nd and 2. He's only going to get 1. So yeah, if you see the light hitting the Seahawks helmet at a certain way, it looks like it's just emerald green. Why is this happening? Seemed like everything was good to go when I started. Gonna run a quick speed test here. All right, Stafford throws. Oh, it's incomplete to Nacua on 3rd and 1, so the Rams are held on the first down. Okay. So it looks like I'm doing decently enough for streaming. I don't know why my software is having trouble. Oh, they're going for it on 4th and 1 at their own 39-yard line, and Kyren Williams gets it. That's a first down. So I apologize if the quality of the stream is not the best tonight. All of my indicators looked good when I first opened things up, but things are a little iffy right now. All right, we got a 1st and 10, 13 minutes left to play. Here's a handoff to Kyren Williams. He's going to get another 8. So some really strong first down running by the Rams. All right, okay, so it was a 7-yard run, 2nd and 3, under 12 and a half to play. Stafford under center, hands it off to Kyren Williams, and he's off the left side and gets the first down. So a new set of downs for the Rams. Covered the Rams on a stream earlier this season, as I have the Seahawks. The Seahawks won, but the Rams lost. The Rams lost to the 49ers. The Seahawks were able to hold on to win against the Arizona Cardinals. Oh, and the possession football is in the wrong spot. Dun dun. All right. Stafford back to throw. Steps up, slides, gets about 5. So a pretty methodical drive right now for the Rams. I will say the Rams Guardian caps not very many Guardian caps look good, but the Rams are particularly bad because it takes away the blue chrome of the helmet, and it stretches out the Ram logo really weird. All right, we've got a handoff to Kyren Williams on the left side. Going to get about 3 yards. We'll have a 3rd and 3 coming up for the Rams. They converted a 4th and 1 on their own 39-yard line. Earlier in the game, earlier on the drive, that was a really gutsy call by Sean McVay. He wants to come out with a statement drive here on the road in Seattle. So 3rd and 4 is the official total. Stafford out of the shotgun. Surveys the field, throws, completes it, and yeah, that's not going to get it, I don't think. That's to Ferguson. He got hit backward, and it looked like he had to reestablish control of the ball, so they might mark him a little bit less. I have a feeling McVay's going for it here on 4th and 2. Rewinding under 10 minutes to play. Can the Rams keep the drive going? 4th and inches. Okay, so they said his forward progress was stopped where he caught it. So that's much more manageable than 4th and 2. 4th and inches. Are they going to do what the Panthers should have done last week and just do a quarterback drive? No, they're handing it off to Williams on the side. He doesn't get that. Why go outside on these 4th and shorts? I don't understand that. So it looks like the refs are going to examine the spot, but from what I saw, it looks like it's short. Kyren Williams was doing really well on that drive, but couldn't get it was just a badly designed play. Like, why are you doing that? Just go up the middle, hope you get the inch. Oh, that is close. Hard to tell. But I would say I probably err on the side of it being short. But yeah, the Panthers were faced with 4th and inches. And I understand you can't do a tush push with Bryce Young. But just have your running back do it or have your tight end do it. You see teams do it all the time. You just get someone besides the quarterback to go under center and you just push them forward. Like, I don't understand why that's not the call in these inches situations. You really, literally need like an inch. So the refs continue to look at it. We'll get a determination here soon. This is the Dustytron channel on YouTube Live. Thanks for spending some of your evening with me tonight. Yeah, Stafford only threw 2 passes on that drive. One was the incompletion to on the slant to Puka Nacua on 3rd down. Yeah, 1 completion for 3 yards. So not really much for Matt Stafford right now. That drive was all Kyren Williams. But yeah, this is my last stream of the season. It's the last Thursday night football game. There's technically ones on Christmas, but I'm not doing Thursday night football streams on Christmas. And then week 18, there is no Thursday night football game. So this is the last stream of the season, and it's a pretty good one to go out on. Lots at stake here between the Rams and the Seahawks. They're tied right now, so the Rams do not clinch the division if they win this, because they'd have the tiebreaker over Seattle, but Seattle could still win out and the Rams could still lose their final 2, so that could still get Seattle to the division title. Yeah, I'm thinking about my Panthers here. They ever since they beat the Jets, they have alternated wins and losses in alternating weeks. So the way that plays out is that they get the Bucks 2 out of the last 3 weeks. They lost to the Saints, so they'll win against the Bucks, lose against the Seahawks, win against the Bucks again. If that happens, they make the playoffs. So, okay, so apparently the ruling was that the Rams were short, so the possession football moves over to the Seahawks. Dun dun. And it looks like the Seahawks had an 8-yard play on their first down. Yep, they've got 2nd and 2, Darnold under center. Here's the snap. That's Kenneth Walker going on the left sideline. Looks like he got the first down. Just barely, but it looks like he got it. So new set of downs for Seattle. Yeah, I think I like this Rivalries uniform. It's different. It's not like, wow, that's amazing, but it's unique enough as an alternate that I think I like it. They've got some interesting incorporation of emerald green in there. All right, we've got Darnold on a bootleg, looking, gets it to Walker in the flat. He's got some blockers. He's at the 35, the 30, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, and it's going to be goal to go for the Seahawks. Huge play for Seattle. Okay. Yep. All right. We're good here. All right. We got 1st and goal. It's a shovel pass to Cup. He's only going to get 1 yard. So 2nd and goal upcoming. We're under 7.5 to play, so we're halfway through the first quarter. Seahawks threatening at home, wearing their rivalry uniforms against their rivals, the Rams. The two top teams in the division. If the Seahawks win this game, they have the sole lead. Oh, and it's Charbonnet up the middle for the touchdown. And Seattle strikes first with a very efficient drive downfield. Yeah, the running game worked, the screen game worked. The Rams are going to have to make some adjustments here because, yeah, this is a pretty big hole for Charbonnet to go through for the touchdown. So we've got Myers on for the extra point attempt. It's down and it's good, so Seattle strikes first. 7-0 Seattle. You're listening to my live reactions here on the Dusty Tron channel on YouTube Live. So yeah, we're in the first quarter right now. 7-0 Seattle. 7:09 left to play in the first quarter. If you stick around for halftime, you'll hear the Dusty Tron halftime report, where you'll hear me give my flawless analysis of the prior week's games. A disappointing loss for Carolina last week. I had to watch them as they let the Saints kick that field goal and win the game. Bryce Young had an opportunity towards the end of the game to run a drive of their own, but couldn't make it happen. And then the Panthers defense just failed down the stretch and let the Saints go all the way. Like they had to go a good distance. They had a good punt there. I think they started at like their own 6-yard line and were able to get into field goal range. Yeah, Chris Olave just tore us up in the last quarter. We're going to have to play better than that if we want to beat Tampa Bay this week. So the Seahawks currently proving me wrong right now. We'll see if that changes down the stretch here. The Rams were doing a pretty good drive down the field, but they did have to convert 1 4th down, and then the second one they were faced with, yeah, they weren't able to convert a 4th and inches because they decided to run to the outside instead of just straight up the gut, which didn't make much sense to me. I don't know why teams do that. All right, we've got Myers kicking off here. It's going to be fielded by the Rams. Oh, he dropped it, but picks it up. He's at the 20. Going to be met at the 24-yard line. That's number 20. Who's number 20? That's Ronnie Rivers. Oh, possession football needs to move. Dun dun. Reposition this a little bit. There we go. All right, we got Stafford under center. It's Blake Corum in the backfield. Puka Nacua in motion. It's a fake handoff to Corum and gets it over to Nacua, who gets it to it gets 9 on there, so this will be a 2nd and 1 coming up. All right, we got 2nd and 1 here. Stafford under center, hands it off to Corum, who's been really starting to break out a bit this year. Gets about 4 on that rush, and it's a 1st down for the Rams. So we're winding under 6 minutes to play in the 1st quarter. 1st down for the Rams. Stafford out of shotgun. The Seahawks bringing some extra pressure. Doesn't get there. It's complete. Rams guy to the 35. That's who? 87. Davis Allen is the guy who caught that there. Yeah, he's just kind of split out wide. The Seahawks bring 1 extra guy. They kind of disguised it a bit. But yeah, they ended up bringing 5 on the rush there. All right, at the Seahawks 35-yard line, Stafford under center. Hands it off to Corum. Corum going on the left side, pushing through. Looks like he's going to get 5. Down to the 30-yard line. Kept the pile moving for a bit there. We're under 5 to play in the 1st quarter. Rams trying to respond to that early touchdown by the Seahawks. Second and 5. Stafford under center. Takes the snap. Rolls out to the left. Throws. Oh, and it's dropped by Allen. So this is going to be a 3rd and 5 coming up. Yeah, he had some room to work with. They kind of created a tight end screen there, but Allen drops the ball. It's a nice sidearm pass by Matthew Stafford, but it almost, maybe he wasn't expecting it. But yeah, it just slips right through his hands. 4:30 to play in the 1st quarter. 3rd and 5 coming up. Stafford out of the shotgun, no running backs behind him. There's Kyren Williams split out wide, it looks like. That might actually be Corum. That is Corum. He throws, he lobs it up and couldn't get it to... That's number 15. Not quite sure who that is. That is Konata Mumpfield. Okay. Not sure why he's going his way on 3rd down. But they've got the offense out there again. You could kick a field goal here, but that's not what McVay is electing to do. He's electing to go for it on 4th and 5. They missed one earlier and they made one. So they're 50% on the night. Seahawks bring pressure. Does it get there? There's a flag. It's complete to Nacua, and for the time, he has the 1st down. There is a flag, though. We'll have to see what happened. That was a nice contested grab by Puka Nacua. Offsides on the defense, so they would have gotten the 1st down anyway. The penalties declined, and the Rams' drive will continue. McVay being very aggressive with these 4th down calls right now, because that was 4th and mid to go. It was 4th and 5. That is an incredible catch by Nacua. Just great concentration, fighting through the corner. Yeah, I don't think there's many receivers in the league that make that catch. But yeah, they have something special in Nacua. Which is crazy because he was a 5th round draft pick. He's either a 3rd or a 5th. I can't remember. I think it was a 5th. All right, Stafford. Actually, no, I think he was a 3rd. And then it was Kyren Williams who was a 6th. Stafford rolls out, throws, it's complete. That's Mumpfield getting it into within the 5-yard line to about the 3. So the Rams will have 1st and goal. Yeah, just hits Mumpfield on the drag route, and he's able to turn it upstream. All right, they call him down at the 5, actually, not the 3. Stafford hands it off to Corum. Not going to get anything there. We're under 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. It's been a pretty quick first quarter. Not many incomplete passes. This is the Rams' second drive of the game. The Seahawks up had 1. Got a very quick touchdown off it. Stafford hands it off to Corum again. He might have... Oh, it looked like he had the edge for a second, but then the Seahawks come and seal it up. It's going to be 3rd and goal coming up, and you wonder if McVay's going to go for a touchdown on 4th down. He has not passed up an opportunity to go for it on 4th so far in this game. All right, Stafford out of the shotgun. He's got a man. Oh, it's Nakua, but I think he's short. He is inches away from the goal line. And now I think that this is something where McVay goes for it. Fourth and goal. And did Nakua get a little shooken up there? Or maybe not Nakua. It looks like one of their O linemen is down. Oh, maybe Nakua's ankle got rolled on a little bit there. Yeah, no, he definitely didn't get in. So it's good defense by the Seahawks, and I think you've got a really interesting 4th and goal decision coming from McVay here. I mean, given the trend of how he's been coaching this game, I don't foresee McVay not going for this. Views are light tonight. Might be another short night. I'm surprised this is an important game. But yeah, this is the last stream of the season, and I feel at this point in the season, probably the videos I'm going to be posting are more just like if there's something interesting coming up. Like I might post a playoff prediction video when the playoff picture is set, but I think as far as power rankings and picks, I'm probably done for the year. Done for the season. I know there's 2 weeks left, but kind of wrapping things up with this last stream. So we'll see what the Rams do when they resume here. So that's Kevin Dotson who got injured on the play. And yep, as expected, McVay's going for it. Huge play here. It's a hand. Oh, it's a play action. Stafford throws. He's got his man, and I think he held on. It's Ferguson in the back of the end zone, although there is a flag. We'll have to check the flag. Stafford holding his elbow a bit. We'll have to see what that's about. Oh, it's an ineligible man downfield penalty after the play action. And so that touchdown's coming off the board. And so, yeah, now we've got the thicker the kicker. Wonder what his actual size is here. Harrison Mevis, he's a 245-pound kicker. 6 foot, 245 pounds. Actually, he might not have even caught that ball anyway. Or he caught the ball, but maybe he didn't get his foot down. I needed to see the replay a little closer there. But it looks like they are going to kick the field goal here. All right, let's do this. Thicker the kicker. Kick is up, and it's good. So the Rams get points on the board. It's 7-3. Seahawks over the Rams. You're listening to my live reactions here on the Dustytron channel on YouTube Live. All right, our live viewership has ticked up a little bit. We've got 3 live viewers now. We'll have to see what the Seahawks can do on this next drive. Very efficient drive down the field, but if they're anything like my Carolina Panthers, it's almost a doom spell if they're the ones who score a touchdown first. I swear, in at least half the games where we scored a touchdown first, we end up losing. Both our games against the Saints, we scored a touchdown first and lost. We scored a touchdown first against the Patriots and lost. So yeah, not always best to score first, I guess. Yeah, so you do see on the replay the lineman. He's actually the guy who replaced Dotson, gets way too far out. McVay was not happy about that. Here's the kickoff. It's going into the end zone. That's a touchback. We'll see where they pull this one out to. All right, so the possession football moves. Dun dun. Darnold comes back on. First and 10 for Seattle with 1:43 left to play in the first quarter. 7-3 Seahawks over the Rams. All right, we've got Darnold handing it off to Charbonnet, and he's going to get 9 on that first carry. This Rams defense has to do something about this run game. And that was something in the Panthers game where the Rams defense was susceptible to the run. So we'll have to see if they can correct that going down the stretch. Darnold audibling the play. He's under center, has Charbonnet behind him. Rolls out to the right, throws. Oh, Barner had it and then dropped it. He had it in the flat, but it's incomplete. 3rd and 1 coming up. Minute and 8 seconds left to play in the first quarter. 3rd and 1 for Seattle on their side of the field. Yeah, this is, it's at their own 43-yard line. Darnold throws. Oh, the pass was broken up. That's Emmanuel Forbes, I believe, the former first overall pick by the Commanders, screamed in on that and knocked it away. Yeah, Darnold broadcasted his throw a little bit too much on that, was going for JSN, and Forbes broke on this route. Yeah, made it difficult for JSN to catch that. Yeah, might have gotten a little bit of hand in there. All right, here's the punt. So Seattle punts on their second possession. 3 and out, and that is fair caught. Adjust the camera a little bit here. Still in the first. Oh, gotta move the possession football here. Ah, dun dun. But yeah, looking at the playoff picture, we do have the first two teams who have clinched playoff spots. The Rams and the Broncos are officially in the playoffs. They have not clinched their divisions, but they are in the playoffs. The Broncos with the best record in the league at 12-2. I really hope the Jaguars beat them this week. I hope a lot that the Jaguars beat them. Actually, NFL.com has them with their old Jaguars logo. Let me see if they're wearing their Prowler uniforms this week. I don't think so, though. They don't have a white version of that, so I don't think that's accurate. The Panthers are wearing their black helmets, apparently. Yeah, no, Jacksonville's wearing their normal helmets with their white tops. Not sure what their pant color is yet. The Broncos are debuting a new look, though. Orange jerseys with the white helmets. They've only worn the white helmets with the Navy uniforms before. And actually, the first time they debuted that was the first stream I ever ran last year. That was actually a really entertaining game between Bo Nix and Jameis Winston. It was the Browns and the Broncos. Yeah, surprisingly entertaining game. So not this week, but the following week, there's a Texans-Chargers game. That's going to be really important for playoff seeding. All right, so we're starting off 1st and 10 at their own 12-yard line. Stafford under center. About 58 seconds left in the first quarter. Stafford goes long. He's got Nakua at the 35, the 40, the 45, the 50, the 45, 40, 35, all the way to about the 33-yard line of Seattle. That is a huge first play by the Rams. Yeah, he just finds an open hole in the middle of the zone here, and there's just a lot of room for him to work with. He's able to beat out Kobe Bryant there, and then just drags a few Seattle Seahawks the rest of the yardage. That's a huge play for the Rams. Puka Nacua already with 74 yards receiving. And here's a handoff to Kyron Williams. He's going to get about 3, maybe 2. And that will take us to the end of the first quarter. It's 7-3. Seahawks over the Rams, but the Rams are driving in Seattle territory. You're listening to my live reactions here on the Dustytron channel on YouTube Live. It's Thursday Night Football. So yeah, taking a look at the playoff picture right now, Rams are in the first spot, and a win here would really help them keep that. But if they don't win today, the Seahawks actually jump ahead for the division lead, and they would be in the first overall seed, which who would have thought at the beginning of the season that the Seahawks could have the #1 seed in the NFC, but that's been what this NFL season's been all about. It's been all topsy-turvy and crazy this year. Yeah, because, I mean, you've got the Bears, who weren't even close to being in last year. The 49ers, who are having a down year. The Seahawks didn't make it, so they're in the mix. I mean, the Bucks are in it right now, but you know who I want to be in there instead of the Bucks. That would be another crazy thing if they were able to make the playoffs. But yeah, you've got Rams at 1, Bears at 2, Eagles at 3, Buccaneers at 4, Seahawks at 5, 49ers at 6, Packers at 7. And then over on the AFC side, you've got the Broncos at 1, the Patriots at 2, the Jaguars at 3, the Steelers at 4, the Chargers at 5, the Bills at 6, and the Texans at 7. So yeah, I did a prediction on this. Every week when the playoff picture is updated, I do a prediction again, and I got once again the second week in a row, I got the Rams over the Bills. I just don't really trust any other teams in this playoff picture. Yeah, Jacksonville is surging at this point. They're going to be an interesting team. I think if Jacksonville can beat the Broncos, that's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes out. Jacksonville pushing to maybe get that #1 seed. They're 2 games behind, but if they can beat the Broncos, who are the top seed, then they are only 1 game behind and would have the tiebreaker. But yeah, a lot of teams eliminated. So outside of the field in the AFC, the only teams that still have a chance are the Colts and the Ravens. And in the NFC, it's just the Lions, Panthers, and technically the Cowboys, even though they have a less than 1% chance of making it. All right, Stafford throws. Oh, he's got Nakua, and he overthrew him. He had him, but overthrew him. That was a walk-in touchdown if Stafford could have put that in the right spot. Is it maybe Nakua didn't get there in time? Was he held up a little bit? No, I think just Stafford sails it a bit. Which, yeah, that's unfortunate. He's open. So we've got 3rd and 8 coming up. And you wonder if McVay's going to go for it again. Here we are. Doesn't need to worry about it. He's got, that's somebody. It's number 88. Who's 88? They get the first down. No flag, I see. That is Jordan Whittington. So Stafford getting some definitely lesser known players involved in Davante Adams' absence. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to look that one up again if he gets another catch. But we've got 1st and 10. They're in the red zone now at the 13-yard line of Seattle. It's a handoff. That's Kyren Williams. He's gonna get about 5 on the run. Started off on the left side and then cut back to the right. Not a great look for Dotson there, being carted off into the locker room. All right, we got Stafford under center, hands it off to Williams, and he's going to get about another 4. This is going to be a 3rd and 1 coming up as we're under 13.5 to play in the second quarter. So the Rams knocking on the doorstep, but is the Seahawks defense going to be able to turn them away again? The Rams had a touchdown last time that got called back. Are they going to be more disciplined this time? They had an ineligible man downfield. The tackle who, or sorry, I think it's the guard. The guard who subbed in for the injured Dotson went too far off the line of scrimmage. Darnold under center. 87 in motion. Darnold boots to the right. Oh, it's a drop. I don't think he would have gotten there anyway. 87 was at the line of scrimmage. Who is 87? That's Davis Allen. He had a big catch earlier in the game. But yeah, he had Seahawks right around him. I didn't think he was actually going to get the first down there. Still, the drop sucks. Yeah, so he's going for it on fourth down again. It's the fourth down already. Stafford moves Allen in motion. They might, yeah, it looks like they're just trying to pull him off sides here. They take the delay of game flag and they're going to kick the field goal. So, I mean, from McVay's perspective, I mean, the Seahawks probably thought they were going to snap the ball. They did it at their own 39-yard line, so having a 4th and 2 is not that crazy to think. All right, we've got Thicker the kicker. Made his first from 23. This one from 28, and he gets it. So the lead is cut to 1. 7-6 Seahawks over the Rams. I'm going to check something really quick here. Okay. If I X this screen... does my throughput go up? Yeah, for some reason my chat dock in OBS isn't working, or it's off screen somehow and I can't locate it. It doesn't work like a normal screen for some reason. Yeah, it doesn't have a window, I should say. It doesn't have a minimize button. And so I was using the live studio, but it doesn't look like that's helping at all. So I'm just going to bring up the live studio link again. Seven to 6 is the score. But yeah, while it's at commercial, I'm going to take a picture of my prediction that I made. All right, I am back. Stuck a little there on the curtain. All right, so the Seahawks have it at their own 35-yard line. They start with a false start. Possession football does move. Dun dun. 12:45 left to play in the second. The Seahawks will have a 1st and 15 at their own 30-yard line. I'll get this photo staged so I can show it during the break. All right, we've got Darnold. Darnold getting pressured. He's going to get tackled, but he technically gains a yard. So this will be 2nd and 14. It's not a sack. All right, 2nd and 14 as we wind under 12 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Darnold out of the shotgun, steps up, and the Rams are going to sack him. That's number 53. I think that's their middle linebacker. Yeah, Landman. He's been playing really well for him this year. Nate Landman. Yeah, I remember him because he's the guy who recovered the fumble against the Texans in Week 1. So this is going to be, I think he lost about 2 yards there. So this is going to be a 3rd and, okay, they call it 3rd and 15. Darnold out of the shotgun, so this is 3rd and really long. They're going to try to set up a screen for Kenneth Walker, and he's not going to get there. Gets about 7. So it'll be 4th and 8 coming up, and the Rams, they just need to find a way to punch the ball in the end zone. It's been 2 straight 3-and-outs by the Seahawks after a very successful first drive. But the Rams defense looks to have adjusted. And there's the snap, there's the punt. And wow, that is a punt. It's fielded at their own 6-yard line. Oh, and they've got something here. Oh, he tripped up, but he returned it all the way to the 38-yard line from his own 6. That's a 32-yard return. And the possession football is going to move. Dun dun. You're listening to my live reactions here on the Dusty Tron channel on YouTube Live. So, as promised, I can show you the playoff prediction I just made. This should be the right file. That is. So here it is right here. Let me shrink that down. That is not the right thing. I need to shrink that down. Okay, that photo ended up being way bigger than I expected it to. Alright, so here you have it right here. So this was building out the going into the Week 15 playoff picture, going into Week 16. You had all the seeds set up. So the 5th seed was the Seahawks, the 6th seed was the 49ers, and the 7th seed was the Green Bay Packers. And so I had the 49ers, the Packers, and the Seahawks winning, which means the Seahawks went on to play the 49ers, and the Rams went on to play... the Packers went on to play the Rams. Rams won that. Seahawks beat the 49ers. And the Rams beat the Seahawks. So, yeah, in the first round, it was Seahawks beating the Bucks, 49ers beating the Eagles. I think the Eagles are trending down just like they did in 2023. And I think the 49ers, they are a sneaky good team. They're able to pull off the upset there. And then the Packers, I know it's at the road in Chicago, on the road in Chicago, but I always kind of have to take Green Bay against Chicago. It's just got to say that. So that's how the NFC shakes out. On the AFC side, you have the Broncos in the first seed, that would be the Patriots in the second seed, the Jaguars in the third seed, and the Steelers in the fourth seed. So the fifth seed was the Chargers, the Bills are the sixth seed, and the seventh seed's the Texans. I have the Patriots beating the Texans. I have the Bills beating the Jaguars. I don't know what to think about Jacksonville. They're getting hot at the right time, but they have to take that into the playoffs. Oh, we've got the Rams back. 1st and 10. It's a handoff to Kyron Williams. He's going to push forward and gets that's Corum. My bad. And then, the Chargers beat the Steelers. So the Chargers go on to play the Patriots in New England, and then the Bills go on to play the Broncos in Denver. I think the Bills pull it out against the Broncos, and then the Patriots are able to beat the Chargers. That has the Bills on the road in New England. We saw them just win that game this week, and the Bills go to the Super Bowl against the Rams, and I have the Rams winning. And that's the second week in a row, based on the playoff picture, that I've had the Rams over the Bills in the Super Bowl. And they did rush on that play right there. Then they were able to get the first down. So I look at a competent passer like Matthew Stafford, who already has 142 yards passing. Everyone celebrates Bryce Young when he gets over 200. It's ridiculous. All right, Stafford under center, hands it off to Corum. And he's going to get about 4 on the ground. So the Rams really continuing to heavily favor the run game. All right, we had some issues with the stream there for a second. I don't know what's up with my internet connection tonight, but it's a little unstable. All right, there's a handoff. It's Corum. He's going to get 9 on the run. Yeah, my OBS disconnected there for a second. All right, we got a 2nd and 1 under 6.5 to play. Stafford under center. Hands it off. It's going on the left side to Corum. He gets about 2, but that's enough for the first down. They're at the 25-yard line of Seattle. Yeah, and I feel like with how they're doing these runs, they're going to just wear down the Seattle defense as the game wears on. Seven to 6. Seahawks over the Rams. The Seahawks only had one good drive in this game. Other than that, it's been all Rams. They just haven't been able to get it into the end zone yet. There's a pass underneath to Kyron Williams, goes for about 4. They might give him 5 with forward progress. It's going to be like a 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6 coming up. All right, 2nd and 4, actually. They gave him 6 on the play. Stafford throws. That's Mumfield, I think. And he's inside the 10. Yeah, that is Mumfield. So he's inside the 10, and it's going to be 1st and goal as we're under 5 minutes to play in the half. Yeah, I believe that's Mumfield's third reception of the night. I hadn't even heard of him before this game. Yeah, Matthew Stafford already has. I think Bryce Young had 160 something. If Stafford completes like 2 more passes, he's already got more yards than Bryce Young had all last game against the Saints. All right, you've got Kyren Williams up the middle for about 6. They're at about the 3-yard line of Seattle. Threatening again, but are they going to be able to get the ball in the end zone? They've had to settle for short field goals on their 2 red zone possessions. It is huge for the Rams to get this into the end zone here, as we're winding under 4 to play in the half. Stafford under center. Fakes the handoff, throws to the end zone. He's got his man, touchdown! And that's Ferguson, who caught the first one that got called back. And I think this one's going to stay. Terrence Ferguson. My gosh, I need to be able to talk. (12-7) Rams over the Seahawks. The Rams finally punch it in. But I mean, if they had just been able to get touchdowns on their other drives, this would be like 21-7 right now. Instead, if Thicker the kicker makes this field goal, this extra point, which he does, it's only a 6-point lead. But there you have it. 13-7, Rams take their first lead of the night. You're listening to my live reactions here on the Dusty Tron channel on YouTube Live. 3:43 left to play in the half, so the Seahawks have plenty of time to do a drive of their own before the half. And for those of you who are experiencing some issues with my stream, I apologize tonight. My internet is acting a little funny. But yeah, coming up on the Dusty Tron halftime report, you'll hear my flawless analysis of all of last week's games. There were definitely some shockers in there. Although, I can't even say that the Saints one was a shocker. We lost the first time. I'm not surprised we lost at home to them. It just stinks, because we would just have to beat the Bucs once, and we would have clinched the division. But couldn't beat the Saints. Couldn't do it. But I guess that's what the price you have to pay for getting surprising victories over the Packers and the Rams. You have to lose to the Saints twice. That's what it is being a Panthers fan in 2025. Which, to be fair, is much better than it has been the last 2 seasons. The last 2 seasons were unbearable to watch. Last season was a little bit more bearable down the stretch, but... All right, so there's a touchback. I think this is going to come back to the 35. right, 1st and 10, 3:43 left to play in the half. Darnold under center from his own 35-yard line has Charbonnet in the backfield. Hands it off to Charbonnet, and he's not going to get much, about 1 yard. So yeah, this is where the Rams can really take advantage of the game. Now, that being said, possession football needs to move. Oh, not the scoreboard, the possession football. Dun dun. That being said, the Seahawks do receive to start the next half because the Rams started with the ball, made it into Seattle territory, but then failed on a 4th down. So Seattle can get something going here, and they receive the ball to start the next half. Darnold out of the shotgun. Takes the snap. Oh, and he's going to get sacked by Kobe Turner. I believe he's the one who's the conductor on the Rams defensive line. He's been featured a lot on these telecasts. They've been talking a lot about his composing talent, his musical talents. And whenever he gets a sack, he does a celebration like he's conducting an orchestra. Darnold, Darnold out of the shotgun on a 3rd and 16. He's got Kenneth Walker to his right. The Rams bring 4, and they just run it with Walker in a give-up play. Oh, but Kenneth Walker makes something out of it and gets the 1st down. Oh, he broke like 3 tackles on that run and was able to get the 1st down, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. The Seahawks with some life on this drive before the half. Yeah, just incredible balance by Kenneth Walker there, being able to stay on his feet amidst the hits he was taking there. That's a failing on the Rams' part. They need to get the Seahawks off the field there and try to get some points of their own before the half. But the Seahawks drive is going to continue. They're about their 48-yard line, I believe. He was close to midfield but wasn't quite there. So are the Seahawks going to make the Rams pay after letting them give up that big, I want to call that was an 18-yard run on 3rd down. It was 3rd and 16, and he passed the 1st down marker by like 2 yards. But yeah, be sure to stay tuned for the Dusty Tron Halftime Report. You'll hear my expert and flawless analysis about all of the games from the past week, and maybe even some predictions about this upcoming week. Yeah, the Broncos-Chiefs Christmas game not looking so interesting anymore, but the Chiefs eliminated from the playoffs. I feel like the schedulers were thinking that would not be the case with 3 weeks left in the season, that the Chiefs would already be out of it, but that is where they are. I believe it's something like 9 seasons since the Chiefs missed the playoffs. Yeah, because I think it was 2016 the last time they missed. When they got Alex Smith, they made it in 2017. All right, Darnold under center. They're at their own 46-yard line. It's a handoff to Kenneth Walker, who goes on the right side. He's inbounds, gets it to about the 49-yard line of the Rams. They pass midfield. The clock is going to run, but honestly, the Seahawks do want to use some of that clock. (13-7) Rams. We're under a minute and a half left in the half. Seahawks trying to make this the final drive. It's another handoff to Walker. That second effort might have gotten him the first down. Depends on where the officials spot him. Okay, they're spotting him a yard short, so this is a 3rd and 1. Yeah, and an extra lunge at the end. It was very possible that he didn't get it. It's 3rd and 1. Oh, and they just go forward under center with Darnold. Yep, that's kind of what you do in that situation. So it looks like someone took a timeout there, probably Seattle. But JSN does not have a catch in this game yet. Emmanuel Forbes doing a really good job in coverage. So for those of you who are relying on JSN right now in your fantasy playoffs, no receiving yards tonight, no points. I'm actually curious. I'm in a guillotine league where I think I was like 20 points behind the projected first place person. There's only 3 of us left. I'm on the chopping block projection-wise this week, but I think the top team has JSN, so I wonder if that's shifted. And this is going to be a run for Charbonnet for about 1. The Seahawks did take their first time out, and they're probably going to take their second after that with 57 seconds left in the second quarter. Yep, I'm up to second now because, yeah, the guy... I'm assuming it's the guy who has JSN. Yep, JSN with a big fat 0. He went from first down to third. All right, we got a 2nd and 10 coming up. 58 seconds left. Oh, so it's the Rams who took the timeout there. All right, Darnold out of the shotgun. Rolling to his left, has some separation. There's a flag. I bet that's going to be holding on the offense. Darnold was able to get to the outside, but usually when you can get to the outside, especially a quarterback, and there's a flag, it's coming back with holding on the offense. But we'll wait to see what the call is. Maybe it's holding on the defense in the secondary. It is on the defense, so that's going to be an automatic first down for Seattle. The penalty is on Wallace. Does he grab Shaheed? I don't like that. He doesn't really grab him. So I think the Seahawks have gotten into Myers' field goal range here. They're at the Rams' 34-yard line. All right. Darnold throws. It's complete to Cup. He's at the 20. Oh, he fumbled. The ball is fumbled and recovered by the Rams. He was running towards the end zone, gets the ball stripped. There were plenty of steps in there. That is definitely a fumble. Cooper Kupp fumbles, and it's recovered in the end zone by the Rams. It's recovered by Durant. Yeah, Cooper Kupp makes a good cut here, but doesn't secure the ball well. Curl is able to rip it out, and the Rams able to dive on that. Yeah, Curl just gets his helmet on the ball, and that's what pops it loose. And it'll be interesting to see if they mark Durant down at the 1 or if they give him the touchback. But yeah, no, it's definitely a fumble. Cup took a lot of steps there. So I'm going to move the possession football. Dun dun. And the Rams, they're probably going to want to just take this to the half because they're not in good field position. Unless that is indeed a touchback. Then maybe they'll try something. Yeah, and I think that's what they're looking at right now, where Durant establishes possession of the ball. Is it at the like half yard line, or is it a touchback? Now, he never gets touched until he rolls into the end zone, so that's interesting. Is it going to be a forward progress thing? I'm not 100% certain how this is going to play out on a fumble. Yeah, I don't know if he really gets possession of it until he crosses the plane. Yep, yard line. And Seattle took a timeout before the Rams play. Not quite sure why. The Rams were just going to hand it off. I think they're pretty content going into halftime. 13-7 Rams. Are they going to try to do anything before the half? There's only like 40 seconds left. So the Seahawks botch an incredible opportunity. The Seahawks do clinch a playoff spot if they win today. However, the winner of this game controls the path to the number 1 seed. So if the Rams win out, they're going to get the number 1 seed. If the Seahawks win out, they get the number 1 seed. Stafford out of the shotgun. It looks like they are targeting downfield. Stafford throws long. Oh, Mumfield almost made an incredible catch, but can't haul it in toward, can't secure it as he goes to the ground. Incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up with 36 seconds left. Rams coming off a shootout against the Detroit Lions. Oh, that's a good play by the Seattle corner. Joby, he's able to punch the ball out as he's going to the ground. All right, that's Stafford kind of stumbling as he handed the ball off there. Hands it off to Kyren Williams, and it's not going to be a timeout by Seattle. I think so, with 31 seconds left. So this does force, well, they have no timeouts left, though. So it's 3rd down. The Rams could just kneel it and take it into halftime. We'll see what McVay dials up here. But really, if they run any play and it's not incomplete, they'll be able to run the clock out. So that's probably what McVay's directing Stafford to do. If there's nothing there, just take the sack, let the half run out. McVay is under center. Now, what they could do is run the ball. They're running the ball. Maybe they'll get the first down, or maybe, yeah, this kind of seemed pointless. But yeah, they are just going to let the half run out. Leonard Williams was in on the stop. And that's going to be halftime. 13-7, Rams over the Seahawks. You've been listening to my live reactions here on the Dustytron channel on YouTube Live. So yeah, we're going to hop right into the Dustytron halftime report. Talking first about the Falcons and Bucks. That was a game where I was passionately rooting against the Tampa Bay Bucks because it gave my Panthers the opportunity to win the next 2 games and clinch the division. We obviously didn't do that, but in this game, Captain Kirk helped lead the Falcons from a 28-14 deficit in the 4th quarter and were able to pull it out. Kyle Pitts had the game of his career, getting 3 touchdown passes and over 150 receiving yards. The Falcons win it on a walk-off field goal, even though they committed 19 penalties in the game. 29-28 was the final. Going down to the Bears and Browns. It was one of the... I'm going to move this over here so I can keep my eye on the chat. Bears and Browns... It was 31-3. Bears didn't have much of a contest there. The Browns didn't put up much of a fight. Bears, they're the number one. They're leading the NFC North again. I had a bet with a friend of mine that they wouldn't make the playoffs, and that's not looking too great right now. So... all right, we've got the Ravens and the Bengals next, and I feel terrible about this. I thought the Bengals, after beating the Ravens that last week, they were going to go on a tear. They were going to win out. They were going to win the AFC North, which was right for the taking. And then the last 2 games, they choked against the Bills, and then they came out completely flat against the Ravens. The Ravens keeping their playoff hopes alive at 7-7. They not only beat the Bengals, they shut them out 24-0. Burrow had been doing so well against the Baltimore secondary in previous games, and it just wasn't meant to be in this one. All right, we had the Texans over the Cardinals, 40-20. Cardinals did not put up much of a fight there. Texans, they have won 6 in a row and are becoming one of the teams that you do not want to play going into the postseason. They are pretty locked into that 7th seed. They need to keep winning in order to keep it, though, because the Colts could take it away from them. I don't think the Ravens, technically they could. If the Texans lost out and the Ravens won out, they could sneak into the wild card. Although I think the Colts play the Texans again, but that would be the Colts were 9 wins, so the Ravens still could get 10-7. So theoretically, the Ravens could still get in at the 7th seed. Now, this one's interesting. I know it's the New York Jets, but the Jaguars look pretty darn good. And ever since their bye and ever since acquiring Jacoby Myers in that trade with the Raiders, Jacksonville has looked really good. So has Trevor Lawrence. And I think we're in for a really interesting matchup. The Jaguars going into Denver this week. Can they pull off the upset there? I'm kind of thinking they can. Although I think my official pick was the Broncos. I'm really curious to see what they can do with that. But the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence had one of the better games by a quarterback in recent memory in that game. 48-20 over the Jets, just completely demolishing them. And then this game, the Chargers beating the Chiefs 16-13. End of the dynasty right there, and with Mahomes tearing his ACL at the end of the game, that's not something you come back quickly from. It'll be interesting to see when he comes back next week. I mean, that's like a year-long injury to recover from. Now, I know it's Mahomes. They'll probably get him the best treatment possible. They'll probably fast-track him as much as they can, but it's a rough to come back from that. So many players struggle with that. And it might really limit his mobility going forward, and that's a huge part. The improv is a huge part of his game. And so I made a crazy pick this week that the Titans were going to upset the Chiefs. And I don't think it's super far-fetched because you saw that Chiefs team really struggling with Mahomes in the lineup. I think when you see Minshew in the lineup, it's not going to work at all. That's my prediction there. But the Chargers, they got one step closer to the playoffs, 16-13, able to defeat the Chiefs. And this, I would say, was probably the game of the week, but also kind of the choke of the week, too. The Patriots had a 21-0 lead over the Bills, but the Bills finish out the game with 5 straight touchdown drives, able to hold off the Patriots at the end, keep their hopes of winning the AFC East alive. They win 35-31. And if they can get into this playoff bracket, I think they're the best team in the AFC, even though they're probably going to get a wild card. I think they're the best team. All right, we had a tank bowl here, Commanders and Giants. Giants successfully lose and keep themselves in first place for the number 1 overall pick. I don't think it's this week, but the next week, the Giants and Raiders are playing each other, and that is the sweepstakes for the number 1 overall pick. I honestly think the Giants are a lot better than the Raiders are. So I envision the Giants winning that game. Raiders need so much help. It's been so awful. And speaking of the Raiders, their game against the Eagles had a get-right game against them. 31-0, just blanketed them. Kenny Pickett did not play well at all. I think I heard something like they only had like 73 yards of offense through the third quarter or something like that. It was really, really bad. So the Eagles, they snapped their losing streak, but that being said, you beat the Raiders. So that's take that with a grain of salt. They're the worst team in the league. This was another great game last week, and it was in the Packers' clutches to beat the Broncos, but somehow the Broncos, they keep finding ways to win these close games. Denver, they were down in this game at several points, and the Packers had several attempts at the end of the game to try to get a final drive going, just could not get through that Broncos defense. Broncos hold on for an 8-point victory, 34-26, and the big story coming out of that one is that the Packers lost Micah Parsons for the year with a torn ACL, and that puts his start to next season in question as well. So just really rough hit to the Packers, and you feel like that does take their Super Bowl aspirations. It really gives them a big hit. I had mentioned this earlier on in the live stream. The Rams 41-34 over the Lions. The Lions, so it was interesting. I was watching that game and I saw the Lions up 24-14. I'm like, oh yeah, the Lions, they're doing good. They're probably going to get this. And then I see, the Rams ended up pulling it out. Because I really like the Dan Campbell Lions. I want them to make the playoffs. But that loss really hurt them, though. That being said, they do play the Bears. And if they can have the tiebreaker over the Bears, the path to the postseason is still there for them. But they really do need to win out. Taking a look at who the Lions play this week. Oh, actually, it would be over here. Lions play the Steelers. That's an interesting one. I feel like the Lions could definitely pull that one off. I don't know what to think of the Steelers. They looked pretty good last week against, whoever they played. The Dolphins. Which, yeah, I'm a little concerned about that because I thought the Dolphins, they might be getting some momentum trying to salvage their season a little bit. But now they're benching Tua and starting Quinn Ewers out of Texas. He's a rookie. And I don't know. I don't think that's going to go particularly well. Maybe they'll surprise us, but if we lose to Tampa Bay, we need the Bucs to lose, and they have to lose to the Dolphins. I don't know if I see that happening. So a lot is riding on this game. It is in Carolina this week. Because we lost to the Saints, we do need to, if we win out, we get the division. If we win against the Bucs and then win again and the Bucs lose against the Dolphins, we get the division. If we lose to the Bucs, we have to beat the Seahawks and then the Bucks have to lose to the Dolphins, and then we need to beat the Bucks in the final week in order to win the division. Because the Bucks have the head-to-head tiebreaker with us. So if we tie, then the Bucks are going to get it. I saw it. It was like common opponents. The Bucks are 5-5, and we're 4-6, so they had one better win. It might have been the freaking Cardinals. All right. The Colts and Seahawks, it was the return of Old Man Rivers. The Seahawks could only muster field goals in that game, 6 of them, but it was enough to win 18-16 over the visiting Colts. And then we're starting to see, so the Titans, they are just objectively one of the worst teams in the league, but you're starting to see that maybe they're starting to turn things around a little bit, and they have like no talent on their team. So Cam Ward, he's kind of making some things happen. 37-24, the final there. The 49ers took care of business, but Titans were still able to put up 24. They've been playing a little bit better in recent weeks. All right, and the Cowboys, they all but destroyed their playoff chances, not being able to take out the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings won it 34-26 on the road. J.J. McCarthy had a game where he decided to play. And yeah, he dishes out the ball to everyone except Justin Jefferson, which I don't get that at all. And then Monday Night Football, Steelers, they took care of business against the Dolphins, 28-15. That score looks a little bit closer than it really was because the Steelers had 4 straight touchdown drives to open the game, and the Dolphins just never really recovered from that. So this has been the Dusty Tron Halftime Report. All the games of Week 15. Looking forward to Week 16 and looking forward to seeing how the rest of this game plays out. However, our viewership has been pretty low, so probably not going to stream too far into the third quarter, unfortunately, unless traffic picks up. Halftime is nearing an end here. I'll change this graphic to be the third quarter. The Seahawks are going to start with the ball. But yeah, I think the big story from that half was that the Rams had almost double the time of possession of the, or a little bit more than double time of possession of the Seattle Seahawks. Rams were able to sustain drive. The Seahawks weren't. Outside of that first drive by Seattle, they just didn't really get much going except for the end of the half, but then Cooper Kupp had the fumble. And we're going to give this one Seattle drive, see if we get any uptick in traffic, and then probably log off for the night. Here's the kickoff. And it's going to be caught for a touchback in the end zone. Oh, possession football needs to move. It is Seattle's ball now. Dun dun. All right, we've got Darnold under center. Takes it, hands it off to Charbonnet, and the Rams are in the backfield, but he's able to get 2 yards out of that somehow. Yeah, just a lot of Rams pushing the offensive line back there. All right, we've got Darnold in the shotgun, throws underneath to Charbonnet, pushing for the first down, not going to quite get it. He's about 1 yard short. So we've got a 3rd and 1 coming up here. All right, looks like, oh, look, they're putting a tight end under center for a tush push. When it's 3rd and inches, something Carolina should have done against the Saints. And look, he gets it. Because Canales came out after saying why on that 4th and inches he handed it off. He's like, oh yeah, Bryce Young's not designed to do the tush push. And it's like, so put a tight end under center. All he's got to do is take the ball and get pushed forward. And that gets you like an inch. Yeah, so we've got Barner who did it for the Seahawks here. It was just a terrible decision by Canales. I was livid that they did that terrible running play. All right. And here's a handoff to Walker. Oh, a big hole. Walker is off to the races. The 30, the 25, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Seahawks. So Walker with 2 huge plays today. And the Seahawks, they start the first half with a touchdown drive, and they start the second half with a touchdown drive. And they're hoping to take the lead by 1 point here. Yeah, just the path opened on the right sideline, a huge hole, and when Kenneth Walker hit that, he just was gone. Breakaway speed there, able to outrun the rest of the Rams defenders. And Myers, whoa, that was a wobbly extra point, but he was able to get it. And the Seahawks have a 14-13 lead. You're listening to my live reactions here on the Dustytron channel on YouTube Live. Well, since that was such a quick drive, we'll give the Rams one. But yeah, as I mentioned, this is my final live